What do we have that feels like picnic spray?
So backstage at Richard, Kevin, Frank, we're doing this. What we're up to here is just middle part, mousse, dry shampoo, texture on the ends. I'm using the TG sprays this year, liking them a lot. Using Root Boost, which is a nice spray mousse. It gives me a grip and a dry texture. Blow drying it with my hands, middle part. Once I get it in there, I use one of these guys. These just clip it, fix it into place, hold it till there, and then a little dry shampoo. That gives me a fluffy texture.
Okay, let's go to rehearsal and then you come right back, okay? Just this way.
Foundation, actually moisturizer. Something to take away redness.
For Richard Shy, we're doing a cool girl look with very transparent, with silver. Silver reflects on the eyes, and this very beautiful, and it's this nudie, fleshy, satiny color first that gets applied on the eyelid, and then you brush silver over it, so it's this mix of like flesh tone with metallic. Not too fairy, you know, like kind of a little bit present.
Take care. Would you let me know as soon as it's ready?
You can come to my studio and there'll be one picture on my wall, and that's the inspiration for the season, because it's never really about these literal references or these things that come from specific time periods. It's more about being inspired by things that I feel and translating those things into a spirit of the clothes or the attitude of the woman that I designed for. So it was really the idea of textures and layers, doing things in a much more muted color palette.
We'll probably see a little bit more of an interest in that kind of mid-60s mod moment. But without seeing the show, who knows? But it's the beginning of the season, so here we go.
A lot of it was inspired by menswear in the beginning, and the beginning was much more, you know, kind of wrapped and layered, and layering is always very important in my collections, and as well as, you know, the attitude of this effortless way of dressing. And so every season is the challenge of what's a new way of approaching that, or what's a new interesting way of playing with proportion or layering clothes without it feeling like it's trying too hard, you know? There has to be a real ease.
Richard Chai is definitely a designer that taps into the it girl look. I mean, he captures that very sort of urban, chic, young woman who works in the city, goes out at night, and he's always presenting you with a trend that at the beginning of the season you're thinking like, really? Am I going to be wearing a maxi skirt? That's really, I'm not so sure. By the end of Paris, you're like, of course I'm going to be wearing that. And he's really good at presenting that trend first, and then you understand it by the end of all the shows, and you're loving that he did it at the price point he does it at.
Love is fairly young, and I think in just looking at the past two seasons, you know, last season was really neutral, and it was inspired by, you know, this idea of stark clothes and purity and stripping away what was there the season before, kind of paring her down. So this season it was like pushing that idea forward, but keeping it really eclectic, and individuality was really important. Even with the casting this season, it was different from where I've been before, and it was very much about girls that fit this attitude and personality of the woman that I'm designing for. putting the collection together, it's always very important in that process. If it doesn't feel believable, or if the model doesn't feel good in it, or she doesn't have an instant reaction to it when she comes to a fitting, it doesn't feel believable. And that's why I think it's really important when we're casting it and we're choosing what the models are wearing, that they have a sense of a reaction to it. It makes them feel.
He's really become a strong contender in the designer world and also in the contemporary world with this collection, which I love that it's done so well for him.
I think at the end of the day, for me, it's important that whatever I put out on the runway, that it's something that's believable. I think the challenge of the designer is to do something that is interesting and thought-provoking and considered and made beautifully and interesting, but still wearable, that you want to see people in at the end of the day. I mean, it's fun to be creative and create art, but at the end of the day, clothes should be cherished and something that you should feel wonderful in, or should feel, period.